Hello guys, how you doing? If this is your first time watching, my name is Glory Ifoma. I'm also called Glory Phone on some other social media platforms. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post new videos. Do not forget to share, like, leave a thumbs up so that my video gets recommended and it's gonna be appreciated. Like I always say, let's take this ministry to the permanent side, okay? And also just give us few minutes of your time. It's really educative, informative, and entertaining. All right, you're not gonna regret it. First disclaimer for this video is whenever I do this finance video, I'm not in any way trying to say that I'm already at that there yet, like financially. So many people have this perception, like, what do you have? Where did you come and be doing all this finance stuff? Okay, so but then I'm not Dangote, I'm not Femi Otedola yet. I'm not part of the billionaires club yet. I'm not Mark Zuckerberg yet. But then we are steady on the grind. We're working hard, and this is just like our journey. So, however, some of these finance topics are things that are easily relatable. Any person, any kind of person might have experienced it. It doesn't really need a wealth of cash. Will I say cash balances? To be able to say this. Okay, so that's the first disclaimer. These are things which I have experienced at one point or the other in my own little way, and also I talk from existing knowledge which I relate to, which I understand, which I assimilate, and which I feel like sharing. Then again, as you can see, I'm all laid back, casual, because like you all know, in this channel there's no uniformity or officiality or anything. It's all about the mood, it's all about how I feel. Okay, so this is how I feel like looking today, and that is how I am today. So without further ado, I think I've wasted a lot of time on this introduction. Let's dive into the topic. I'm going to be talking on money has eyes, can feel, and responds to our command. Money has eyes, can feel, and responds to our command. The whole idea or concept of this topic came in when I was just pondering about some certain occurrences and things that have happened in the past, and that brought so many questions that led to this topic. Now, if you have noticed, or you perhaps might have had friends around you that complained that whenever money comes in, it goes out immediately. Like, they're finding it difficult to gather money, they're finding it difficult to save, they're finding it difficult to put money together. Year in, year out, they're working and still have nothing to show for it. Now, I know that in recent years, especially in this part of the world, it's not been easy, for the fact that there's been increase in the costs of living, which has led to reduction in the standard of living. Take, for example, someone earning 100,000 5 years ago or 3 years ago. The same thing that person was able to afford in those years, that person really cannot afford it now because of increase in the cost of living. So there are so many reasons why people find it difficult saving. The first is increase in the cost of living. The second is family pressure, urgent situations. It might be health, it might be so many other things that can make people find it difficult saving. Even spiritual. In fact, in this part of the world, we believe a lot about spirituality and how our ancestors can affect our ability to save. So yes, there are so many other reasons, but today I want to talk about one prominent reason which I feel most of us might be ignoring, which has probably been occurring but we've not really taken cognizance of. Now, that is our relationship with money. When we talk about our relationship with money, Some people feel like this is a topic for the billionaires, or this is a topic. No, you can talk about relationship with money, because it starts from the small you have. It starts from that point where you start growing. That is when you need to really understand your relationship with money. Do you have a positive relationship with money or a negative relationship with money? How does money interact with you? Now, I'll consider money to be like a child, which you can groom, which you can train to possess a particular attitude, to possess a particular feature, to possess a particular character which you can imbibe in it. I'll give an example. A child growing up does not really know anything. Some of the trainings or how the child turns out to be is a product of his or an environment most times. Now, if a child makes a mistake and you correct the child grows up picking up that correction. But if a child makes a mistake and you ignore it over consistently, and that child grows up to be an adult, that child grows up feeling that is the right way to behave, and it becomes really difficult to correct that child when the child is an adult. The same thing goes with money. There is a way money interacts with us that if we give it that free hand, we don't caution it, we don't put it together, we don't advise it in, it's like an energy, if I may put it that way. We don't adjust that energy, we don't adjust that vibe with money. It tends to interact that way in a long run, which tends to affect our ability to save, our ability to invest, our ability to grow, both in our personal income target and in our business. So that is what I'm here to talk about. I want to really talk about this particular aspect, which I feel like we are really not really paying attention to in most cases. I'll paint four scenarios. The first scenario with our interaction with money might relate to you watching, might relate to the next person, but I want to give four scenarios. The first scenario is, have you noticed that there are times when you don't have money at all, but immediately a problem comes up, there is money. Money pops up to solve that problem, and the money is just sufficient to solve that problem. Say you've borrowed someone some money, you're expecting, you've been asking for the refund, and the person does not refund it. And all of a sudden, you have a challenge, you have a problem that needs finances, and this person just pays from nowhere. Or there's this business you've done, you're expecting revenue for it, it hasn't come, but immediately problem comes, this revenue comes in, and it's just sufficient just to solve that problem. Immediately that problem is solved, money goes off, you're broke, your account is empty, you have no money again. That is the first scenario. That is a way money can interact with us humans. The second is, you have immediately money the second is immediately money comes into your account. All of a sudden you start receiving calls to solve problems, financial problems. It's either family is calling, it's either friends are calling, it's either someone falls sick. At the end of the day, you want to see you spent the whole money and you can't really account for it. Now, the third scenario is, immediately money drops into your account, impulse buying. There's a desire to buy so many things, you're buying, you're spending, and by the time you're realizing it, you have not saved any money, you can't account for it, you don't know where the money went to. The fourth scenario is, you even expecting money, the money has not dropped in your account, you're expecting money, you've already gone ahead to borrow money to do some expenditures based on the money you're expecting, and you've forgotten, like, anything can happen. This is life, so many things can change, so many situations. These are some of the way money can interact with us, which can be adjusted if we give it a chance, but for which some of us don't really recognize. And this goes on years after years and after years, and money picks up that nature with us and keeps interacting that way with us. When this happens, we find it difficult putting money together. When this happens, we find it difficult saving, because money is just an in and out kind of situation where money just comes in and goes out the next day, comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out. So this is a behavior money can take, which can be adjusted if noticed on time, but most of us we go on without really recognizing it. Most of us end up pretty much satisfied with the fact that at least we're able to solve our problems. But what if we could do much more? What if we could stop that from happening? I have every reason to believe that sometimes it's not just spiritual. Sometimes when this happens, we feel like, oh, it's spiritual. We'll go on praying and it's actually very good, but not all the time. Sometimes it's just the energy we've interacted with when it comes to money, the energy we've permitted keeps going on and on, which can be adjusted. It's very physical and it could be adjusted physically. Now, how can this be adjusted? This is the point where I want us to really focus on. So, I'm going to give a couple of tips on how to break this pattern whereby money serves just for expenditures. Because honestly, money serves so many other purposes. Example, investment. Above every other thing I'm going to say in these tips, the highest is discipline. As a person that wants to build up wealth from scratch and still waiting for that big opportunity that is going to skyrocket he or she to that point where they're looking at, the highest you can start doing from now is financial discipline. So let's dive straight into the tips. So the first tip is try to save a portion of every revenue you get. Try to save a portion of it. You can keep it in an account where you don't have easy access to, or you can just, if it's big enough, you can just put it in a fixed term investment for a certain amount of time. You can save about, say, 20%. If you can go above that, then that is good. But whatever revenue you get, before you do anything, just take out about 20% of it and just keep somewhere and forget about it. Now, the next is you can keep a portion of your revenue too to cater for all these expenses and expenditure. You can also set aside, say, 25% of your income, depending on how much it is, to cater for some of these friends and family calling for, urgent need and assistance. Believe me, it's very good to be there for your family. How can you not even be there for your family? What is the essence of working so hard? But the idea behind this is you need to be well fit to be able to help. If you break down, if you're drained financially, you will not be able to help in coming years. You'll not be able to help for a very long time. So why don't you gather momentum, build enough wealth that is sustainable for which you can use in rendering more help? So that is the concept behind that. You can keep a percentage of the revenue you get to cater for some of these needs that come up. Now, when you've exhausted this and say more requests are coming and it's not a do or die affair, you can always say no. There are some people that have a very good habit of they're just givers, all right? They can give their last dime. But when it comes to sustainability, you want to build a sustainable assistance kind of situation or environment or scenario, then you need to be able to build wealth if you don't have it. And how do you do this? By saving, and this will require you to say a couple of no's sometime. So it's totally okay, it's not wrong. God says you have the heart to give, but you need to build it to be able to give some more. So that is fine. The third tip is avoid spending based on anticipated income. So many people have this habit of just spending. You're expecting money from somewhere, the money is not hit your account yet, and you're already spending the money that's not yours yet. That is very wrong. You need to restrict yourself from doing that. You need to discipline yourself, caution yourself, advise yourself, be angry at yourself, discipline yourself. It's actually not good. This creates a negative relationship with money, and it's just going to create a situation where the money is coming in, it's going out, and nothing is left for future purposes, which is wrong. So wait until the money you're expecting gets into your account, that you can plan on how to spend it by doing the first and second tips I mentioned. The fourth tip is when income grows. The fourth tip is when income grows, you can maintain the same standard of living. This is very important, especially for salary earners. Maybe you're receiving a particular salary, and with that you're able to afford a certain standard of living, which is okay. Maybe with that standard of living you weren't able to save, but then you received the raise in your workplace, and the next thing, the natural human mechanism, we want to level up. Do you understand? But let the amount of leveling up you're doing, let it not be above what you're earning. That hinders the ability to save, that hinders the ability to retain some income. It's advisable that maybe within the first year when you receive that raise, you can still maintain the same standard of living. Just imagine, say you're earning 300,000, then in a month you're able to spend 205,000, and you're unable to you what you're able to save is 15,000. Then by God's grace you receive the promotion and you're now earning say 400,000. If you maintain that same standard of living, which makes you spend 275,000, you will be able to save 125,000 every month. Say you're able to maintain that for 1 year. Believe me, you have a good amount of savings which you can use to plan yourself and do a business or something, and from there wealth starts building. So it's advisable that when your income grows, maintain that same standard of living for a while in order to pile up these monies that can be used for further investment. The fifth and the last tip I'm going to give is invest more. Invest more. Now when I say save, I'm not saying that you should just go and keep the money somewhere where it's not yielding any income. Try to look for good investment schemes. Like I mentioned in my last video, make sure you totally understand what you're going into. Once you have a good grasp of what you're going into, you can then invest into it. Even if it's 10% per annum interest rate, it's something than nothing. So you can invest this monies and just forget about it for a period of 1 year. It's going to come in handy. Hello guys, so I hope this has been informative and helpful. Let's do this together and get to the top together. All right, it's your girl here, it's your girl. Subscribe. I love you. Until next time, it's a bye from here. It's a bye from here.